Changing gears, well, staying kind of on topic, while this hot weather is clearly affecting firefighting efforts around the West, it's also affecting life for many people here in southwest Montana.
Yeah, this week in Fish and Wildlife, we head to the Madison River where Montana's fish population struggling to stay cool as it heats up.
This week in Fish and Wildlife, sponsored by your local Montana Toyota dealers.
Thursday morning time once again for This Week in Fish and Wildlife. This morning we're on the Madison River. Joining us this morning, Travis Horton. Travis, this is an interesting time of year for your fisheries here. We're on the Madison, but not unique here. There's some things that we need to be on the lookout for if you're thinking about doing some fishing this time of year, aren't there?
Certainly. This is a very stressful time of year for trout and salmonas, whitefish. In particular in situations like this where the river is chronically warm. It is the most stressful, and the hooking mortality rates can be higher than what you'd expect in the earlier summer or even late in the fall.
Let's talk about what that means. That hooking mortality. It's you're talking about catch and release fish. That sounds like it's okay, but it might be a problem.
Right. So back in the mid 2000s, FWP worked with researchers at Montana State University, and we did a study where we captured fish through angling, put them in cages for a 3-day period and monitored their mortality. And based on, and those temperatures were comparable to what we're seeing in the river behind us, where, it's up in the 70s, upper 70s temperature range. And it depends on the species of salmonid we're talking about. Brown trout are the more tolerant species. They were about 3% mortality over that 3-day period. On the other end of the spectrum, mountain whitefish had upwards of 25+% of mortality.
That's where these hoot owl closures come in, isn't it? That's what you have a lot of factors you look at when you make a decision like that.
We do. We generally look at 3 different things. One is the thermal temperatures, as we talked. Secondly is flow. We're pretty fortunate this year. We've got decent flows. I think 2 years ago, the Jefferson River was down to 18 CFS at Waterloo. This year it's about 450, so we're in good shape there. And the third factor the department looks at is angling pressure. When, rivers like what we're seeing behind us, generally speaking, the angling pressure drops pretty dramatically when the temperatures come up, and of course we know the demographic using the river behind us. So that's generally the case. And one thing that's kind of misunderstood about this research is, yes, the mortality rates are increasing, but as those temperatures increase, the catch rates decline. So typically people aren't going to be boating as many fish. There are marginal areas where it's a little bit warm and you might still have a 30 to 50 fish day. There's a good chance you're killing a lot of those fish that you're boating in those circumstances.
So I guess just to wrap this up, what would be your advice to anglers as they're thinking about going out on the rivers right now?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest that folks try to focus in on areas that are less warm. Try to really change their angling behaviors such that they're more fishing in the early mornings and then not in the afternoons. And we do have some folks that get concerned that they're not out to catch and release fish, they're out to catch and kill fish. So it's a good chance if you're in a stressful circumstance like what's behind us, you're better off to harvest that fish.
Yeah, because it's just ultimately not going to be the best thing for them anyway.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say too, the department, we haven't typically seen what we call population level effects of this sort of fishing. There are circumstances where it might occur. For example, the Madison upstream of Ennis Reservoir, extreme high pressure, in particular when other restrictions are going in on area rivers and you're moving a bunch of people into those locations. To date, we haven't instituted any fishing restrictions, but that's something to consider where, a lot of people are fishing, a lot of fish are being caught, and there's probably a significant level of hooking mortality.
And all of this is ultimately just to protect the fisheries that are here.
Absolutely, and largely it's to protect those individuals. Like I said, we haven't seen any kind of a population level effect, but from an individual fish perspective, you can certainly have an effect on them.
That's perfect. Again, Travis Horton joining us this morning as we're talking about these warmer temperatures and taking care of these fantastic fisheries we have here in southwest Montana. Travis, thank you very much.
This Week in Fish and Wildlife was brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.